Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Motivation Monday, September 8th, and welcome to an all new episode and a new month of Style by Stevie. We are now in the fall winter months, so the months will be getting cooler pretty soon. The fashions will be changing, and I'm super excited for that. Our very special guest today is an actor, screenwriter, and playwright, and I'm super excited to have him here in the dollhouse with me. So, without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, JJ Johnson. And yesterday was the VMAs, hence why I'm doing the colorful hair today. So who knows what hair color I'm going to have tomorrow. Again, I'm a chameleon. You never know what you're going to get. So I'm always changing up my look. But the weekend for me overall has been quite busy. Just a weekend recap before I bring on my very special guest. It's been quite busy having to make sure the mom is good, having to make sure that everything is in motion and set because we will have a season 20 of Style by Stevie coming up in 2026. And I'm looking forward to it. So, whole new outlook, set design, everything already working on that. So, booked and busy. Your girl is going to be booked and busy all the way up until 2026. And I'm looking forward to it. So, a lot of great things, a lot of fabulous guests, a lot of great conversation, more girl talks. So my very special guest is here, Fashion Dolls. Without further ado, let's welcome to the dollhouse. Let's give a warm welcome to JJ Johnson. And let me wave. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Fashion Doll. Hello, hello. Wait a minute. It's coming in. I love your hair. Thank you. Thank you, Pure Lux. Yesterday was the VMAs, and I figured why not come late to the party a little bit. There we are.
All right.
Hello.
So I was out in limbo somewhere.
No, now we can see you and we can hear you. Welcome to the dollhouse, JJ.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. Let me adjust my camera here. All right.
There we are. Now
There
we
we
can
go.
see you and we can
All
hear
right.
you. It's such a pleasure to have you here. So before we kick off this conversation, how has 2025 been for you so far?
So far, it's been really busy. It's been a very good year, career-wise, trying to navigate all what's happening politically, living in the DC area. But I will say career-wise, it's been a very good year.
And my girl, Pure Lux, know why I gave that look. I've been very involved and on the front lines for everything that has been going on in
All
DC.
right.
So down here in South Carolina fighting it too. We got Lindsey Graham and he's running for re-election. It's a lot.
Mm,
So
yes. Yes.
but overall, you have been working on some things, and I want to take my hat off to you because I love what you're doing, where you are literally working with helping up and coming Black filmmakers, directors,
Mm,
producers, giving them an opportunity. We need more of that, and I use my platform all the time to invite a lot of filmmakers and producers and writers on that are Black because in the television and the film industry it is very few and in between, but we see a whole lot more. And of course, we see Lena Waithe, we see Spike Lee, we see so many
right.
filmmakers who've been in the game, who are vets in this business, who are helping up and coming filmmakers as well too. And as so many writers that are coming out that are emerging, bringing their talents and their projects to the forefront. And we'll dive a little
Mm.
bit into that. But I want to start with you in the beginning of your journey. Tell us, who is JJ Johnson? I know who you are. You are an amazing actor, screenwriter, playwright. You've done it all. You are a Renaissance man. Any man that wears a lot of hats, I call him a Renaissance man because in this business you can't be a how can I say it, a one trick pony just for one thing. You have
I
to be able
tried.
to different hats. You know what I'm saying? You have to be
Right.
able to balance it all out. So
Right.
for you, where did you grow up? And tell us a little about your upbringing.
So I was born in a small town, Warrenton, Virginia, and raised about 40 miles from there in a small town called Front Royal, Virginia. Two very small conservative white towns. Born in 75, so coming up in the late 70s. into the 80s and early 90s until I went off to college in the early 90s and to Richmond, Virginia, which was my first time living in a predominantly black city. But loved TV, fell in love with television. My parents and I would watch a lot of TV, a lot of sitcoms. And so I just grew up like wanting to be in that world when I got older. And, cartoons, all of that, all of were inspirations for me as a kid. And so I just kind of lived inside of my imagination for many years. And then, about the age of 9 is when I formulated the idea of getting into show business eventually. And it started out as stand-up comic. Like I wanted to be a stand-up comic at first, and then I got into high school and started doing theater. And I was like, oh, maybe theater and doing, acting or and writing. I started writing in high school too. So all those things kind of formulated in high school. But yeah, that's kind of in my background.
Wow. And fast forward, you received your BFA from Virginia Commonwealth University in 97, graduating magna cum laude. So
Hmm.
tell us a little bit about that, attending Virginia Commonwealth University.
I had a fantastic time. One, getting to learn the craft was amazing. Um, and for the first time, like really, my friends group growing up before college was predominantly white kids. And so going to VCU allowed me the opportunity to really find like my tribe, black folks who were, educated, who were nerdy, who were fun. And so like VCU was kind of the beginning of that and discovering like really feeling starting the journey of feeling comfortable in my skin. And several of those people are still, my people to this day. So like socializing changed for me. I was going to clubs for the first time, going to concerts for the first time, while also learning, the craft of theater. And also taking a lot of classes. We couldn't have a minor, but I took a lot of classes in the African American Studies department because I just wanted to know. I felt like I had missed out on so much growing up in a conservative town. And so I just wanted to know. So I was so hungry to learn. So I took a lot of classes. Shout out, he's no longer with us, but Dr. W. Avon Drake. I took about 3 or 4 of his classes. Wonderful black man who was polarizing. Like he pushed us and, but I was like, I loved the way he taught because he didn't make us comfortable. Um, and so I think having that balance of African American studies and theater, uh, and also just a hunger to learn that, was what drove me to excel while I was there. And it wasn't easy, even though it was a predominantly black city. Richmond was still the seat of the Confederacy historically. And at that time, like Monument Avenue still had the Confederate generals lined up and down the avenue, and there were still racial incidents that I witnessed outside of campus. But having grown up in Front Royal, it prepared me for that because I'm like, if that's all they got, I can deal with that. Um, but yeah, so like those 4 years were phenomenal 4 years, um, and I think it helped to prepare me for what I wanted once I got out of Richmond and came back, north towards DC. Um, yeah, and I've been living, in North Virginia and DC since then.
The RVA area that along with DC. And back to what you just said about the Confederacy, I'm in South Carolina and we have it down here
Mm,
as well too.
yeah.
And it's important that we preserve our lineage. And when you said, okay, I needed to network with other Black filmmakers, Black creatives who are also into African American arts and studies, you made me think of someone. Shout outs to my girl, Dr. Debrina Sandifer. And
Mm,
she has a brand and company called Escheriant Arts. And it is all about dedicating her work and lineage to helping Black filmmakers, Black up and coming talents that are also on Broadway, that have also wanting to go mainstream and produce their own films and write their own films and produce. So definitely
hmm
want to link you up with her. She's amazing. And
Awesome.
we had a whole conversation about preserving as African American creatives, our lineage, our arts, because we're the climate, as you said in the beginning of our intro, we're seeing right now they're cutting funding from programs that can help us grow. So now we have
Right.
to be those branches on the tree to lean on each other and network. Because I know when I
Right.
first reached out to you about coming here on my platform, you were like, okay, who are you? How does she know me? I listen. I've sat with a lot of big names, and a lot of people get the misconception. I'm gonna let me clear that up right here because I think a lot of people
Mm.
think that all she interviews is oh she interviews is yes I've sat with famous people. I've had a lot of people on the show, a lot of famous people, but I know how to use my resources and pour back into my own community to help out
Right.
up and coming filmmakers because I know that this is important. As we're seeing right now from the Smithsonian Museum, we're seeing them cut fundings. We're all seeing it as Black people. We are seeing this, and we're feeling some
Right.
type of way about it. We got every right to. This has been going on for 400 years. So
Right.
it is important that we preserve the arts. And that was a question that I wanted to ask you because you have a company. You are the co-founder of Galvanized, which is a support for Black theater and film artists locally. There's so many in the Philly area, in the Maryland area, in the RVA, Virginia area where you're at, in the DC area. So I mean, it's so many up and coming filmmakers. What can people do to get involved in the arts? Our people mainly.
I mean, they're like nowadays with the internet, you can just Google and find like what's local. But like I've had over the years, I've had so many people who were interested, like just reach out and and ask questions, like similar questions, and I point them to here in the DC area. There's the Actor Center. There is, I mean, Galvanize, which is it's not like an official group. We never like got our nonprofit status, but we are just a network of Black theater artists in the DC area who want to stay connected and support in whichever way we can. Um, and so like there's Theater Washington, which is a website where people can go and learn what the local theaters are, which local professional theaters are there in this area. And DC is one of the biggest, I think the second largest professional theater town outside of New York. Chicago, Atlanta may, want to fight over that, but but it's a huge market here for theater artists. And so, there those resources. Um, I tell because I teach also, and I always, stress the importance of networking. And
Oh yeah.
I'm like every workshop, every audition, every job that you get, you're going to meet new people, and that person has the potential to lead you to another opportunity, which will lead you to And so it's just every little thing that you go to. You may see a workshop that may be only one day, but you don't know who's going to be at that workshop, and you can meet someone who can, I know I had that experience when I was first starting out. There were friends who would drag me because I wanted it, but also like there were some days I'm like, I just don't feel like auditioning. And so I had friends who would drag me to different auditions, and those auditions I can track led me to meet the people that I needed to meet to do the next thing, get to the next level. So it's just about meeting and just getting out and socializing and taking those chances of reaching out to people and saying yes to things that frighten you. Um, and so I think those are the things that it's important, especially for young filmmakers, theater artists to know is to just you're going to have to swallow those fears and make those steps. I'm watching a young man now, a local artist named Marvin, make his maneuver through the theater world. And I remember when he first graduated, he came to see a reading of a play that I had written, along with some other plays that were being done. And he was just sitting there asking all these precise questions in the audience. I'm like, man, who is this young man? He's just, just sharp, sharp, sharp guy. And then about a year or so later, he came to see a show that I was closing in Baltimore. And he stayed after and he talked to me, but then he was also talking to other actors. And so, he's just engaged. And then I went to do August Wilson's piano lesson back in June. And who was there in the room as the assistant director, but Marvin. Within like a year and a half, he had maneuvered. And then I heard there's another production happening of piano lesson in Baltimore right now at Everyman Theater, and he was in that room too. And now like he's just he takes initiative, and he's smart. He knows he has something to offer, and like it's inspiring to see that from someone young starting out. I wish I had that courage when I was his age. But it takes that kind of drive. Like you really have to want this.
Oh yeah.
Um, if you really want it, you'll make the proper sacrifices.
And that is the question that a lot of up and coming actors and filmmakers and producers have to ask themselves, like, how bad do you really want it? And I'm looking in the comments now. Broadway Becca Chica says, I'm
Broadway,
wondering lately
Becca,
how many of my theater faves have Richmond roots. So it's
definitely.
all about networking. I asked Whoopi Goldberg would say paying it forward. So if you see
Hmm.
it, another actor that's trying to figure out, who do I go to? What do I network with? I want to get a part in the show too. What can I do? And you might not get the lead part right then and there because there's a lot of actors. I remember interviewing um, Sandy Alisi, and
Mm,
she is a casting director. And she was saying the question that she got the most was, how do I stand out for this part? How do I get remembered? What is it
mm.
that I can do that will leave a lasting impression on the casting directors? And the key thing she said in that interview that I did with her was stand out by bringing your personality. Because when you're on set, and I say this in every interview when I ask actors, what do you do to get in character? And it's pretty simple. It's self-explanatory. It's a no-brainer. You're putting on that character's shoes. You're having to be the vessel, the heartbeat for that
Mm.
character. You're breathing life into that character. You're having to, how can I describe it? Bring the character to life. You're no longer yourself in that moment. So Miss Stevie's at the door. That's just an example. I'm using myself as an example. Or
Hmm.
JJ's at the door. You're leaving JJ at the door. But when you're out of character, it's like, okay, I'm myself now. But you have to
Hmm.
learn to separate the two, yourself away from the character. That way, when you go home, your friends or your family is not looking at you crazy like, what are you talking about? Has that ever happened to you? Because I know you've done a lot of live theater and you've done
Hmm.
some actual on set as well too. Either or. But has that ever happened to you where you've walked away from set and the character somewhat came home with you by accident? It doesn't happen intentionally. It just happens. And your wife or whoever's like, what are you talking about?
I think it affects her when I'm doing a show where I have to put on an accent. Because I start using it at home, and so it drives her nuts. So she asked me, she's like, "Can you not do another show where you're playing a British character or a Nigerian character, or because I have to practice. Like I want to make it as authentic as possible, so I use it all the time, and I drive myself crazy with it because I'm tired of hearing myself speak with the accent. But like as far as like digging into characters, um, I remember in college having that effect, as I was starting to do my first shows then. And when the show was done, the missing the character, because in a way you become the character is a part of you, but it also feels like a separate person. So I remember I
Yeah.
did a show 20 years ago, that I loved the character so much. He was so innocent and like such a sweet character that when it was done, I felt like I lost a best friend. And I was like, oh, like that's like I had to process that because I had to really grieve the loss of that character. Um, and then here recently with the piano lesson that we did at First Stage, back in June, um, I had been wanting to do August Wilson my entire career, and this was my first time. And like having the chance to finally perform in his work helped me to understand why he is the legend that he is and why his words mean so much. And it was really, really difficult for a few weeks to like let Doker go, because it meant so much. And the family that we created, not only on stage but off stage. I reunited with a few of them this weekend. We went to see the piano lesson up in Baltimore. Like those of us who did it in First Stage, we went to see the one in Baltimore as well. And it was just kind of cool to sit there with them and watch, other people tell the same story, and just support them and be there for them. Um, because I mean, going back to like just black artists, like that's what we need. I know this business we're taught is a competitive business, and maybe there is an aspect of,
Yes.
competition, of course, but like as much as possible. Can it be conversations? Can it be building? Can it be teamwork? Can it be community? You know, and like, can we fade out the competitive nature of it and make it more about like we have these opportunities to tell stories and to push our legacy forward, to make more people aware. So that's what I'm becoming more aware of as I get older in this business, and in shedding old narratives about what we do and trying to create new narratives about like why what we can do and why I'm still here doing it.
And yes, I love what you just said because this business is competitive. And shout outs to my brother K Tukes. When we met, it was during the pandemic, and we
Mm.
interviewed the same person. Both interviewed Dawn Robinson from the girl group In Vogue, and that's how we met. And he was like, "Oh gosh, yes, brother, I'm calling you out." He was like, "Oh gosh, she needed a little bit more work, but we got her." And then he noticed the style changes. He was working with me to help me just mold and captivate me. And now
Mm.
he was calling me the hostess with the mostest. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And that's all because my brother was there to guide me, to shelter me, to shadow me,
Right.
to nurture and be there right there. We didn't know each other, but people try to pit us against each other. The K2 spot, make sure you guys please go and check out his platform. I love him dearly. He will call me, he will text me. When he noticed something is off in an interview, like now you guys can tell I'm relaxed, I'm calm because I'm enjoying the conversation here with JJ and his personality. Like I blend so well. But the audience will tell if something is off. And he will catch certain things and he will call me. I will hear my phone ring and I'm like, I know that's K2's. And he was like, "Sis, how you feeling? How you feeling? Girl, you're over exaggerating. You did good in that interview." So he will give me, he will let
You need
me,
those
they will
people.
tell me the truth. The audience will hold me accountable. They will tell me the truth. My mom will be like, "Stop it. Just stop beating yourself up. You did great." So those are the type of people that you keep within your circle. But people tried to pit us against each other. And
Yeah.
he told me on the phone, he was like, "Sis, did you notice?" I said, "No, I didn't know. We were doing the same thing, but we do it differently. There is no
Right.
comparison. And for it's enough for everybody to eat. It's enough bread for everybody to eat. And that's the way I see it. In this business, it is competitive. They will pit, let's see, Kerry Washington against Viola Davis, and they've worked together. We've seen them work in a commercial where they merged, Shonda
Hmm.
Rhimes merged both shows, How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal together. And we've seen them in the
Right.
salon, in their salon together, going at each other. We've seen the little scene. But that's what people think it is with us in this business all the time as Black creators, is that is a competition. No, it's enough room for everybody to shine. And I love
Especially if you're
platforms.
creating.
Oh yes. And I love platforms like Entertainment Weekly, where they do I think it's Entertainment Weekly, where they do something called Actors on Actors. And you see both of these actors sit
Right.
down and give each other their flowers. The one that I saw was, I think, Aunjanue Ellis and Regina King. And to see both of the world's most powerful women pour into each other over
Right.
roles,
Right.
looking back at their careers, that's what we need to see more of.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
seeing that now. And I think with the
Yeah.
rise of Black Broadway, as you've mentioned, the piano lesson with August J. Wilson, and we're
Mm.
seeing uh, Felicia Rashad. We're seeing Latanya Richardson, Latanya
Mm.
Richardson,
Hmm.
Samuel Jackson's wife. We're seeing so many get out here and be creative and network. It's enough room at the top for everybody. There doesn't
Right.
need to be any, competitiveness. But if you can, it can be in a fun way. It can be competitive in a fun way, but
Right.
don't make it competitive to the point where you're like, okay, mine's is better than no, yours is better. No, it's enough room for everybody. So I'm
Right.
glad you pointed that out because in this business it's very fickle and in between that you will find people that you can lean on, that you can call on. Like I said, with K Tukes, he will call me. He will let me know, sis, and then he'll tell me that I'm exaggerating on things. Because listen, I'm a perfectionist. And if you are an artist, if
Mm.
you are a creative, you like everything to be perfect. Your lighting, your color, everything has to come in perfect because if not, people will pick you apart. They'll find little things and they'll just keep picking that thread apart, and you have nothing left. Nothing is hanging on. So,
Right.
and I think the person who inspires me the most to be a creative is Beyonce. I'm a big Beyonce fan, and I see this woman how she's worked behind the scenes with putting her concerts together, make sure that us, the consumers, her fans, are impressed. And so far, she just keeps 10 times, 10 times, 10 times, 10 times to a whole nother level, to a whole nother
Right.
supernova. She just
Right.
keeps impressing us every single time. And that's what you're going to get here on my platform. The same as for my brother K-Tubes. We do a different delivery, with interviewing styles, but you're going to get great conversation. So stop the comparisons. That's all I just wanted to say. But the next thing I wanted to talk with you about is the arts and how we can preserve the arts during these times, because I know you're in the DC area, and I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna behave, y'all. But if you watched my show last week with Bo, I let loose. I let loose on him. Like, I was fed up. I was angry, JJ. Like, I couldn't take it. I'm
Sure.
like, this man is doing all of this stuff. But the orange tyrant in the White House is
Hmm.
cutting funding for programs that we need, nonprofits and organizations, and it's definitely going to impact the entertainment aspect when you can't speak about it at award shows. You're stopping. We just recently heard what happened with Tom Hanks. Like,
Right.
even award
Right.
shows for us, like the NAACP, like, is he going to bother that? These are questions we have to ask. Like, Black creatives, we are the culture, we are the innovators, we are the movers and shakers. And
Hmm.
that was a question that I wanted to ask you, JJ. What can Black creatives, Black artists, filmmakers, especially in the Black theater, what can we do to hold on tight to these threads that keep this quilt together for each and every one of us as creatives?
Well, I think at the root of who we are is storytelling. Like throughout our history, Black folks and storytelling is like you can't separate those things. So like you can take away all the funding, you could do that, but we're gonna still tell stories. So like preserve the stories, preserve the art. We're gonna do that if we ain't got no money to do it, it's gonna be through our phones. We're gonna find a way, some grassroots way. It may not be a federal funding, but there's Black folks in the DC area who got money. There's Black folks in other areas who got money,
Oh,
and there are white folks as well who have money who will be willing to step in. So you may not be able to get it through a federal grant or federal, but there are people out here. So I think it's just again, being aware of what programs and what money is available to you as a creative, what opportunities. I have a dear friend who sends me fellowships and things that she sees that she runs into. Just say, hey, if you're available or interested, here's something to apply for. But I think it's just again like doing the due diligence and looking for those opportunities. But I don't think you're gonna ever stop Black folks because our art has, it's endured, and hip hop was born out of Black. You know what I mean? We birthed multi-billion-dollar art forms out of Black. They took music instruments out of our schools, and our Black kids like, well, give me a record player. My parents got a record player. We got records. Let's scratch them up. You know what I mean? Let's create something. Let's tap on a desk. Let's rhyme off the top of our head. You know what I mean? Like you can't defund what's going on in my brain. You know what I mean? You can only try to propagandize what's going on in my brain. But if we have, I think with our community, we can fight against that. And I think we have enough resources to see through the madness. At least most of us do. 90 something percent of Black women, 70 something percent of Black men can see through the BS.
Black collective, we're powerful. Like, you can't take away our lineage, our art, our creativity. And what people wanted to know, what is your response to what LL Cool J said at the VMAs? Uh, this is what I have to say. Politics may not be into you, but if you're Black or brown in this country, you'll be impacted in some sort of way. No matter what
Mm,
stature you are at, he will come and attack you. He will come after you.
right,
It doesn't
right,
matter. And I'm
right.
going to quote Nina Simone. I love Nina Simone because she was ahead of her time.
Yes.
The job, of the artists is to reflect the times. So you see how Bruce Springsteen, uh,
Yep.
who else? Miley Cyrus, all of these white artists are using their platform because they know the plight of us as black people. Your job as an artist is to speak up about what's going on. And we're seeing so many be strategic and find ways to be creative and speak out
Hmm.
against what's going on. Because this is fascism. Let's call it what it is. We are in a dictatorship now. There's no
Yep.
beating around the bush. This is not Fox News. I'm not backed by some big corporations. I'm doing this all under my knowledge and strength. So you don't have to worry about the Stevie selling out to nobody. But for LL to say that, I thought it was a little tone deaf. Like, and then
Mm.
the VMAs, if I'm not mistaken, is taped outside, right outside of Los Angeles, the same way the BET Awards is take place. And you see him putting these troops into all of these blue cities. We're seeing what's going on. And the most
Right.
recent Supreme Court ruling today, you guys can check the repost for that. But I'm not going to get too political today.
Hey,
I'm gonna do that
we
with
we can
my
go there.
colleague Alvin when he comes back. I'll wait till my colleague Alvin comes back, and then we'll dive into that thoughts and all of that. And then last week I really let loose with my good friend Bo Emerson, and we touched on
Mm.
everything that's been going on, what we can do as Black creatives to move forward, and find ways because there's just like he finds loopholes to take things from us and strip us from our rights in the Constitution, we can be smart and find loopholes as well too. Because again,
Yeah.
we have to be those branches. And as Nina
Right.
Simone said, we have to reflect the times. So we have to keep telling the stories, keep letting them know our history, our lineage. As much as you try to strip away, it's deeply ingrained in this country. And it comes from our inventions, it comes from our knowledge, it comes from us working, sitting here over time, putting our blood, sweat, and tears into it. Black people invented this country. And for us as creatives, as producers, as writers, it's important that we continue to showcase that and tell the truth where he wants to whitewash it. And we're seeing what's going on with the Smithsonian Museum, where they're
Right.
pulling out artifacts and we're going to remove Harriet Tubman. We're going to remove this. We're going to remove that. No, we don't celebrate Confederacy
Right.
because
No.
we are the true heroes in this country, Black people. You wouldn't have a potato chip if it wasn't for us. You wouldn't have one of those curling wands if it wasn't for a Black woman by the name of Madam C.J. Walker.
Hmm.
So the things that you want to take away and whitewash, which is what we're seeing, you can never try it because it's not going to go away. History books will always, even Google, who's bent the knee to him, will tell you a Black woman invented this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Garrett A. Morgan, Madam C.J. Walker, and there's so many others. Benjamin Banneker. There's so many. So you can't erase the history that is deeply ingrained in this country as much as you try. It will never
Hmm.
go away. But as far as us as Black artists, I say to anybody, any up and coming filmmaker, producer, director, create. Now's the time. Now's the time. It's going to be costly because you're doing it independently. And that was another question I wanted to ask you, JJ. For up and coming independent filmmakers, what gems would you give them as a vet in the business? Because you've been in the business a long time. What gems would you give them?
So I would say that it's not too dissimilar from what I said earlier. Just is networking. As far as like the work I've done with film outside of acting, uh, it was kind of one of those freak accidents, one of those happy accidents because I had no real aspirations to be a screenwriter. I had just started writing plays maybe 2017. I wrote my first play 2017 after having been an actor for 20 years. Um, and then the pandemic hit in 2020, and I was practicing writing monologues. And I was like, let me have, because I was working a full-time job and I had some money. I knew artists were hurting because a lot of us had to give up jobs. A lot of our jobs fell away because of the pandemic. And so I'm like, let me
Mm-hmm.
have a monologue contest. Let me write some monologues, hold contests on Facebook, online, and have actors. send in videos of them performing the monologues and have a group of friends be judges, and like we can reward people money for this stuff. And it just so happened that an actor that I had met from New York in like November 2019 had seen the monologues and liked the writing. And he had been formulating ideas with his producing partner about a film that he wanted to make about black men and mental health. And so he reached out to me in like June 2020. He's like, hey, can we talk? And that led to me writing my first short film, Silent Partner, with him. Um, and Aristotle Torres, who ended up being the director. And then it led to, the next short film and then our first feature film. But again, it was me saying yes and doing something that scared the crap out of me at the time, taking a leap into something that I did not know before. Because I'm an actor that's based in DC. I'm not in New York or LA. And so when he was asking me to, write something with him, I was hit with imposter syndrome. But I also knew like I wanted to try it, and I had nothing but time, and I had Final Draft, the software to write screenplays. So like, why not? And I had taken screenwriting course. I took a screenwriting course at VCU, so I had some background and knowledge in screenwriting. But with the teamwork and with the writing the writing together, um, that really helped the process kind of move along. And it really helped kind of like it was steel sharpens steel or iron sharpens iron. We were doing that for each other. And, opportunities arose as a result. And we have three films that have been shot. The two short films have run through the festival circuit and have, received a good amount of acclaim, and now just waiting for the feature film to drop. But I would just say, like, take those chances, try things, like write. I was writing monologues with no idea that it would lead to me writing screenplays. But, like, reach out to people, be open to criticism,
Oh yeah.
know that you're not perfect. Write something bad and then rewrite it better and then rewrite it better and then scrap it and then rewrite it all over again with a new idea. Like, don't be precious with your work, and let it have room to grow, and you have room to grow as well. That you have to grow with your work. So that's my advice. Um, and really put your ego on the back burner, like really, really. But
Well,
celebrate your wins.
that was another question I'm gonna ask you, but I want to piggyback off of what you just said about having a hard time trying. Put the worst. Listen, we all have to start somewhere, and like you said, don't get in here with the big head. I started off like that, being cocky, arrogant because I was so young. I started right after high school. I'm
Mm,
31, fixing to be 32. So you guys have
wow,
seen me grew up with this platform. I've been doing Style by Stevie since 2016. So what that makes, what, 2 years
wow,
of this platform and still going strong. Now you have seen me evolve and grow as a woman right along with this platform. And I'm so
right,
thankful because from what I've learned from then to now is you got to have a certain sense of humbleness. And as you said about taking criticism, that was something that I was battling with. I was ready to chew everybody's head off because I was like Bridezilla. I didn't get married, but I was like, okay. I was in the fence because I was bullied a lot. That was my protection mechanism. I was
yeah,
picked on
sure, right, right,
and you have to develop some sort of protection. But now it's just like be able and open to receive the criticism. And now I'm just like as I'm getting older, because it's more and more to come in the future for me, and I'm still learning. Even at
absolutely,
31, I still take constructive criticism. I'm just like be open to receive it. Be open to receive it. The door is open. The mailbox is open. Put a letter in there and tell me what your constructive criticism is, and I'll receive
yeah,
it. And it's helped. So again, shout outs to my brother K2, shout outs to so many others who have given me, my brother Sky Valentine, who is also he's worked with Monique. So he's working with
mm,
Monique right now. Yes, the
wow,
comedian, the Parker's Monique. He's working with her
right,
now.
right,
And one thing he told me, when we had a phone call, he said, "Sis, you got to be open to receive constructive criticism. There's nothing wrong with you. You did nothing wrong. You were just
Right.
being protected. And that's as a black woman, you have to kind of have your guard up in this business.
Right.
So that was something that he's told me that has stuck with me since from then to now. And 2020 was difficult for a lot of us, even me. I've had to go back to the drawing board and regroup and re-strategize things and shake up the
Yeah.
platform. What I did to shake it up was I added co-host to the platform. You guys see me, Miss Stevie, the beautiful face, the woman, but I added male co-hosts to the show because I wanted to
Mm.
balance it out like the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
And it worked perfectly, JJ, because I'm just like, you can't have, conversations about what's going on in the world without having like a roundtable discussion with family. And we made it like family. We all, you do this, I do this. We bounced. It was like we were playing pinball with each other. Like, okay,
Hmm.
back and forth, back and forth. We were just flowing, and it was great. People loved it. But then my co-hosts took a break and they started working on their thing, and I said, you know what? Let me take the steering wheel and drive this ship again and continue to hold it down. And I've been holding it
Hmm.
down since. I didn't give up. So that's the thing about it. You have to be open and willing to receive constructive criticism. And people loved it. The feedback that I got when I added co-hosts, and this is during the pandemic 2021, how we're doing it now. People loved it. They were receptive to it because my thing is, how would people receive it if I do it this way?
Exactly.
I was always
Exactly.
worried about what would people think. And in this business, that's something as a creative we always take into consideration is what will people think if we make this next move? If we do it this way, what would they think? Will they like it or will they hate it? And I
Hmm.
always think about those things, but I'm just like, you never know if you don't try. So take that constructive criticism. It goes a long way. Now, innovation, the art of innovation, because we always reinvent ourselves. How important is that for Black creatives? Because you have to come out with something new. They're always looking for something new.
Uh, yeah, I mean, like I had to learn that lesson, the hard way, I guess, because for the first 20 years of my career, I'm an actor, and that was it. Like that was all I was
Right?
doing. I had the intention when I started to be a writer too, but then I just lost inspiration, so I just, left it behind. And then there was a period, maybe about 12 years ago when I stopped getting work. And it went on for several years where I was not getting work after being used to getting work all the time. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And that's when I sat down and wrote my first play. And then as soon as I started writing my first play, then acting work started coming again. So I think, life will tell you when it's time. And then also, the pandemic hit, and then I started saying yes to the screenwriting, but also like I had never wanted to be a teacher. And it was during that first year of the pandemic when Theater Lab in DC reached out and asked if I wanted to teach an introduction to acting class. And I was like, what's that all about? And I was really trying to find an excuse not to do it because I didn't want to be a teacher. And I tried it and absolutely loved teaching introduction to acting. And so I've been with them for almost 5 years now. So like it's the pivoting during the pandemic, it proved to be so fruitful. And like it gave me an extra, means of income, which I needed because I had quit my full-time job in the early pandemic because I was like, it was a job that I was like, it involved me listening to the news too much. And in 2020, the orange
You're going crazy because you're
authoritarian,
inside. And then fast
right.
forward, we got the writer's strike. So, I mean, it was a lot. And we were
It was a lot
always
going on.
inside 24/7. And you're looking at the walls. It's like, okay, I need to get out the house. And then when it finally broke, we were able to go back outside and connect with one another. And we
Right.
had to do a lot of virtual auditions. How we're doing this now, you had to submit your tape in virtually and send it
Yeah.
in. And we're still, they've still kept it going. It's easier versus having to stand in line. And I know a lot of people again miss that human connection. We live now in a day and age where it is technology, like how we have touchscreen phones. We're able to
Hmm.
do. We became creative. When the holidays were near for 2020, a lot of people held Zoom family dinners for the holidays, Thanksgiving,
Right.
Christmas,
Right.
whatever. If you needed, if family needed to come into town, it was maybe like one or two people that could come. But some people, you know, went and did their own thing and they were creative about it. So, I mean, it was difficult for a lot of us. But you were saying, I'm
Hmm.
sorry to cut you off. I had to slide that in.
No, 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 no. That was good. That was good. I'm glad you did that. But I don't even remember what was I saying. I run my mouth so much.
You and having to take, quit that main job and then go
Oh,
on
quick,
to
because it was Trump in my ear way too much, and I was like, I gotta take a
the
break. And
Orange
it was
Man.
George Floyd, it was Breonna
Wow.
Taylor, like all that was happening around that time, and I needed a break from that. And so, fortunately, like I had started narrating audiobooks and teaching at Theater Lab, and so those things helped to compensate for what I lost from the full-time job. And since then, I haven't had a regular day job since then. So I'm thankful for the pivoting and for the hyphens that I've allowed myself to experience now because they've improved my life. They've improved my confidence. Um, they've made me a better artist, I think, all around. Like teaching has helped me to be a better actor, I think, um, because I'm more aware of the basics. Like I had to go back to the roots of what acting is. Because I'm always talking about it. I'm always preaching it to my students. So I'm like, oh, I need to implement this stuff again. And it helps me. It helps me to be mindful of that.
And that's how it has to be, for a lot of us. We have to always come back if we got a way to reinvent ourselves. It's like you're going back to the drawing board. One thing about me is I create vision boards and I'm always
Mm,
planning ahead. What do I want to work on? I did one back in 2024. And as I'm looking now in 2025 at my board across the room, uh, one of the words that I put on my board was focus and remain focused. It's a quote from Rihanna. I love a lot of quotes and I listen to a lot of
mm,
morning affirmations and speeches from people. Rihanna has a quote that goes like this. She says, "Don't focus on the chaos. Focus on getting to the finish line." And for a lot of us, what that means is we become distracted by everything that's
mm-hmm,
going on, that this orange tyrant has been doing things to distract us and throw us off. Stay focused. Don't lose sight of what you're working on. If you have a goal or an intention or a passion, work towards getting it. I remember reaching my goal just not too long ago this year of 800 interviews, and we are still
wow.
going. My brother K2 is almost at 1,000 shows. My colleague Bubs the God, shout outs to him. He's almost at 1,000 subscribers. They are way ahead of me. For me, I've had to take a lot of breaks and come back and regroup. We didn't
Hmm.
stop. And I'm using all three of us as an example because we have worked hard to get where we're at. We didn't give up, we didn't stop. And that is the thing. We can't allow distractions. That's what Rihanna was basically saying in that quote, is that you cannot allow fear or anything negative to distract you from getting to your next destination in life. Because each and every day for each and every one of us, literally,
Hmm.
we are the actors, we are the producers, we are the editors, we are the executives of our lives. So I want you all to remember that, because we're always wanting to write the next chapter. What is going to be your next chapter? What is going to be your legacy? And that leads me to the next question that I wanted to ask JJ. As you look back in your career and your highlights, you're saying, having to navigate through 2020, everything. What do you want to be remembered for in your legacy? Because we're always in these times, you got to ask the question. And I know a lot of us are thinking, with the way things are going in the world, will I still be here? What is going to be my legacy? So for
Mm.
you, what do you want your legacy to be ingrained with and remembered for?
Uh, that it reflected who I am and that,
Mm,
the love that I carry, that I've always carried. Because I was a sensitive kid, and like and I love people tremendously. And my wife, she pokes at me because of that. But like, I want that to be reflected in not only the acting, but the writing. And I want people to feel the love for them that I have when they hear the plays that I've written or see the plays or the films. Film, it's more of a team thing. So like, I try to insert some of, what I can, but there's also other people within that. But like my plays are my plays. And so like the joy that I carry in my heart, even through, the things that we have to navigate, like at the core of who I am is that kid who loved PBS, who loved Sesame Street, who loved, hip hop, so I want people to feel that celebration of Black life that hopefully they feel that. Hopefully that can be a part of my legacy and how much I love my community. hope all that like radiates, if it's, 2 years after I'm gone or, 50 years after I'm gone, like hopefully that'll be the story that people tell.
And it definitely will, because it's a certain, I've watched some of your videos and it's a certain joy and aura. And I
Mm,
told when I did my interview with Carlin Taylor um, last week, yeah, was it last week or last month? I think it was sometime last month, last week. I can't remember. When I did my interview with him, because he makes music. He's a music artist, and I was saying, seeing all of our people line dance to the boots on the ground, all of this, like he makes that type of music. And I was telling him, I said, what we're seeing now is black joy. That's our resistance. So one thing they can't do from us is, even in the midst, it's a meme. And y'all have seen the video that went viral of all the dances from Bobby Brown to
right.
one of my
Yep.
favorite girl groups, TLC, I think
Oh
Miss
my
Elliott. They
God.
were
Yes.
all of them combined
Yes.
in one. And they were saying black people during all of the disasters. That's what the caption was. I think that's what it was. Black people find their joy in the midst of all of, we do. We do. Joy is a form of resistance. Rest is also a form of resistance. But never let them steal your joy. And
Hmm.
remember to stay true to who you are. So that's our legacies that we want to leave. We want to be joyful, and we also going to be vigilant, head on swivel during these times. But never let them steal your joy. And my colleague, shout outs to my colleague Bubs the God. If you're gonna get laughs from either him or him, him or me,
Mm.
him or me, you're gonna get. I said him and him. I was thinking about K2s. um, you're gonna get laughs from either one of us, myself or Bubs. But the way Bubs does it is through a very, how can I say it? It's very revolutionary. It's through a very revolutionary lens. Like he'll take you through a
Hmm.
dark space, but he'll also make you laugh as well too. Our cadence, our deliveries are different. So find your joy in the midst of everything, and never let them take that from you. That's what makes them mad. That's what makes
Yeah.
them mad.
Yep.
Is when they see
Yep.
us, was when we're happy. That's what makes them mad. So continue to make them mad and find your joy. And I close with that, because I know a lot of us, we're sitting here thinking and reflecting as we're seeing what's going on in the world. God, how am I going to get through this? If
Mm.
I'm going to get through this, will I live to see another day? Yes, you will. You take care of
Hmm.
your village. You take care of your tribe around you. And as JJ said, networking is key and important. And I can tell you, I've networked. Thank God for IG here, and I've met some amazing artists, some amazing film directors, and I've reached out to them, and they came here on the platform. Shout outs to Kafre J, who was in the Bay Area in LA. He's an
Mm.
up and coming artist and
Wow.
has worked with so many. And he's using his resources to help people through hip hop. He's also an
Right.
activist as well, to boots on the ground out here giving these white people hell. And he was, I have to send you that interview, JJ. He is something else. He is something else. I said, he was like, and the police know my name. He's been arrested multiple times. The police know my name. He was fighting the good fight. And I said, you keep on, keep your foot on the neck. Don't let
Yeah.
off. Because he went live last week. And I said, keep your foot on the neck. We all have to. As black people, we know the lineage and history in
Yep.
this country. That they think that they can whitewash it. No, we're going to keep our foots on your neck to let you know that we are the real true inventors here in this country, and not the other way around. Y'all are not oppressed. We are oppressed. So all of this other stuff that y'all saying, you're gonna rename it the Confederate Museum, you're gonna do this. No, leave it just the way it is. The Smithsonian. It's our
Yep.
art, it's our lineage. We celebrate freedom fighters like Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner.
Hmm.
That's what we celebrate. And we celebrate the likes of Frederick Douglass. We celebrate the likes of Ida B. Wells. We celebrate the likes of anybody who was a revolutionary at the beginning and the end of their life and legacy. Rosa Parks is who we celebrate. Malcolm X is another. And Fred Hampton for me. Yeah, I love the
Right.
Black Panther movement.
Right. Right.
So they think that they can whitewash it.
Mm.
Yeah, Kafre is that kind of guy. Kafre is crazy, Jay. So I'm gonna have to
We
send
need
you some of
crazy.
we in these times, yes, I told him keep your foot on their neck, baby. Do not let up because they out here, they calling the police on him. He been arrested. They know him on a first name basis. When he told me
Mm,
that, my eyes went up. I was like, "What did you?" But he told me, he explained it to me. So I mean, hey, we have to use our First Amendment right. That's it's in the Constitution. They can't take that away.
yeah,
You can't
yeah.
remove that. Not remove freedom of speech, freedom of creativity. I can't hardly talk today, y'all. But y'all know what I'm saying. You can't take away someone's right for freedom of expression for saying how they feel during these times. And as an artist, you have the right to put that to use. Put that creativity to use. Write about it. Put it in a song. You saw how strategic Beyonce was at her Cowboy Carter show. What she did to Megan Kelly and anybody else who was a critic of her. Loved it. Loved
Mm,
it. She sees everything that's going on.
right,
She's
right.
she's ahead of her time. And I'm gonna say Kendrick Lamar is another one as well too. These are
Yep,
revolutionaries, and
yep.
they're doing what Nina Simone said, and that is using their art to reflect the times.
Hmm.
And as an artist, you can't argue with that. It's important that you do that. And we do it in different ways. Bubs is silly. He smokes his trees. He's pro 420. He loves it. Cafre is on a whole nother level of crazy, and I love them both. Love them dearly. They mean everything to me. Me,
Yeah.
I'll show you the glamour. You see the glamorous aspect of the fashions, the crazy, all of that. But
Hmm.
I do it in my way. But that's what's so unique about all of us is that we have our way of being revolutionary and fighting the good fight. And the late John Lewis said, "What? You have to be the good kind of trouble." And as an artist, as a filmmaker, as a producer, as a director, you can't be afraid. Use your voice. And that's what I wanted to close with. So before we close out this show today, Fashion Dolls, we're going to do a game here with JJ, and I'm going to pass the microphone on down to JJ, and JJ is going to get to host my show. So this is no longer Style by Stevie. This is the JJ Johnson show. So I'm going to pass it on down to him, and he's going to ask me some questions. Whatever he's curious to know, burning questions for my new viewers out there, you'll get to know a little bit about me through the questions. Fashion, life, beauty, uh, whatever you want to know. Take it away, JJ.
Oh, okay, okay. So Miss Stevie, who was your inspiration or who were your inspirations to do what you do?
Wow. uh, it would have to be the women who crawled so that I could walk. She had a talk show, and a lot of people don't know this. Della Reese. Della Reese, she had a talk show. Whoopi Goldberg is another one. She had a late night show
Yes.
on HBO. Who
Yeah.
else? Rolanda Watts,
Yep.
Ricky Lake, Montel Williams.
Hmm.
It's so many that have inspired me. Sally Jesse Raphael. And what I love about them all is that they had their own unapologetic approach with delivering news, with delivering topics. And it was so quirky, in their
Hmm.
own way. Especially Sally. Like when it came, she had the bad kids on the show. We seen it with Mari, and she would discipline the kids would talk back to her. She'd come down off that stage and you see them red glasses. She
Yep.
was known
Yep.
for her red glasses. When
Yep.
she point that finger, so that's my kind of like approach. I try to combine them all in a blender and just offer them. They are the blueprint for me. So
Mm.
especially Whoopi. Whoopi's at a stage where she doesn't care. She will call it for what it is. And I love that about her. And as a host of a platform, you have to be bold, unapologetic, and you have to say what people are thinking. You
Yeah.
can't hold on. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned. I haven't gotten canceled. And the reason why is because I say the things that people are thinking. And I
Mm.
am revolutionary. I am for my people, pro black. So I think that's why a lot of people resonate with me because I'm like, they see black woman, she's for her people. They see
Hmm.
someone who is innovative, who includes fashion because fashion is a form of artistry. And I use
Hmm.
fashion. That's what draws people in. I'm like, what is it that draws people in to watch me all the time every day? I don't care if it's 3, 4, 7, or 200, 2,000. What I don't care. The number of viewers, people tune in and they are watching. And then I go
Hmm.
back and I look at analytics, sky high. So I'm like, What is it? I still don't know what it is. People ask, what is it in the sauce that has people coming back to watch you every day religiously? I couldn't tell you the answer to that. I just don't know. I think it's the formula. Everybody, every talk show host that I've named had their formula, had their way of doing things. And I want to do something that sets me aside from the Drew Barrymores, the Tamron Halls that are currently out, the current talk show hosts that are out,
Right.
or Jennifer Hudson or any or Sherry or any others. I want something that is different. I'm going to use fashion and beauty to draw you in and entice you. Like, okay, what is she wearing today? What hair color is she gonna have? Because tomorrow's gonna be different. So I mean, I'm
Okay.
always changing up, and I think that is what people are looking. One episode I had the Afro puffs. So I mean, I think it's different things that different factors in
Keep
the
them guessing.
sauce. Everybody has their own type of sauce mixture to go inside of a gumbo. You know,
Hmm.
there's so many things that you can put in a gumbo. Like you can throw some shrimp in there, you can throw some tomatoes, whatever you like. So, I mean, I think that's the key thing. But take it away. This is the JJ show, not the Miss Stevie show. You turn it back over to me on that.
Uh, so welcome to the JJ show. I'm here with my guest, Miss Stevie. So tell me, are there any hyphens or other hats that you would like to wear that you haven't worn yet?
Ooh, and I just talked to somebody about this yesterday. I would love to step behind the lens. You got, again, y'all see me as the face every day, but I would like to write for other people's platforms, produce and be behind the lens on their outlets. And I have been doing that by networking and going inside my colleagues' house and just watching how they flow and operate. It's their ship, so I'm a guest in the ship. And then when I get back in my home, I do my thing and we bounce off of each other's energy. So I would like to step into other people's houses and direct and whatever they want me to do, I want to do that. So writing and producing is something that I would love to do, other than just hosting this platform, because I know it takes a lot with hosting a talk show, with hosting a or creating a film production company or running a brand. It's a lot that goes into it. The
Yeah,
theatrics, it's a lot that you have to learn about this business. It is not for the faint-hearted. To anybody who wants to know, how do I get into film business? How do I get into show business? It's a lot. Educate yourself. The resources are there. The tools are there. There's so many books. There's so much knowledge.
yeah,
They don't make it anymore, but True Hollywood Story, you can find out about a lot of famous actors and
yeah,
music artists behind the music. Each one, they don't make that anymore. But if you go out there in the YouTube verse, you can find a couple episodes and you can learn a little bit about the entertainment business on the music side as well as the movie side. Um, what's another show? Unsung, TV One. So I mean, there's so many uncensored where they're giving
hmm
the actors, their insight, their lives, their real stories. So you can learn a lot just through that. There's some TED Talks. I love TED Talks, Jay. So that's something that I'm big on. I watched Cheryl Lee Ralph, and she discussed her journey from Dreamgirls to then their run Albert Elementary, which is where we see her now. So I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
seeing this woman's journey, that's the catalyst right there that everybody should live by, is that you have to go through some things in order to get to that star, and her star is shining so bright. Like,
yeah, yeah.
second black woman to win, and I mean, it was Jackie for a comedy series. Jackie Harry, it was Jackie Harry
Right,
for
right.
27. So I mean, the list goes on, and it's so crazy because it's like history is being made in the making, and it's not going to stop being made. I think Jamie Foxx said it best when they can try to erase our history and our lineage, but we're going to keep making more. We're going to keep rebuilding more.
Yeah, we can't help it.
Yes.
Uh, is there a guest in your mind that if you got them on here would be like the ultimate? Like you could retire the next
Mm.
day. Who is your Moby Dick?
Who's the biggest guest that I would love to interview? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There's so many actresses that I would love to. My God. Who would I like to sit with on my show, on my platform? Mm. Who would I like to interview?
And what would you ask them?
Oh, it would be Holly Berry for sure. Holly Berry. And I watched her. She was saying something about she was signing autographs, and there's a video of her. She was walking so effortlessly. She Holly does this thing with her hair. She was flipping her hair like she
Mm,
was in the Revlon commercials back in the day. And I saw her, and she was talking about women having the rights to their body and autonomy. And then one of the press, she was signing an autograph, and them. She was talking to them like they was her homegirl. So I said, "Oh, this will be a great interview right here."
mm,
And,
mm-hmm.
and I make it so as if I'm talking with my friends. I make people feel welcome. So I think we would have a great time. So I would say Halle Berry.
Yeah.
I was stuck between either Taraji or Viola because I've seen
Okay.
Taraji. Taraji is crazy like myself. We both have funny
Yeah.
personalities. We like to have fun, but when she's on set, she's in character mode. But
Mm.
seeing her from behind the scenes on Empire, Taraji just like, child, what we gonna eat? What we got going on? All sorts of stuff. She
Yeah.
is
She from
crazy.
DC.
Yes, I love Taraji. Viola is the same thing. Like we see her as the woman king, Annalise Keaton, but
Mm.
behind the scenes, Viola is funny as hell. Like you got to go back and
Yeah.
watch the clip of her trying to explain menopause to Jimmy Kimmel. So Viola is straight up funny.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the side we don't get to see to her because we see her as the woman king. It's a certain regalness about her,
Oh
and
yeah.
I love seeing actors and producers outside of their element because they're serious, they're laser focused. But when you
Mm.
can get them to laugh behind the scenes and show their humanity, their vulnerability, that's fun. I like to laugh and have a good time. But I would say Holly Berry because she was just like, well, girl, when she was signing one of the pops autograph for them, she's just like, girl, I know. Like that's how I would talk with my girlfriends. Like that's how women when we get around each other.
Yeah.
Your wife knows how they talk. You know, you hear her on the phone, like, girl, did you hear what just happened? So Holly Berry for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Hallie's one of those actors that as a young high school kid, like of course I was attracted to her as a young man, but as I've gotten older and I've seen moments like that, what you were speaking about, like I love who she has become and her confidence and like she's no nonsense and she's so smart. Like I would love to see that interview because I love having seen her evolution over the last 30 plus years as an artist. Um, my final question, if we got time, uh, if you could go back to little Miss Stevie as a child, uh, what are some words of wisdom that you would give her,
Ooh,
knowing what you know
what would I
now?
say? My young self. I would say hang in there. It may seem like because I was picked on a lot from grade school all
Sure.
the way up in high school, I would say hang in there. Your star is going to shock people. It is going to shine so bright. You hang in there. The way they treat you now, you just wait. They've always doubted you. They're going to keep doubting you, but through the adversity, you will get through this. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Right on. Right
Yes,
on.
sessions. All right, fashion dolls. And the same for you, vice versa. What would you tell your future self, your present self, heading into, because the year is going by, it's flew by so fast, y'all. We're now in
September.
September. Look up October. Me and my mom share a birthday in October. Then
Nice.
November. And then before you know it, boom, 2026. The year has flew by
Mm.
so fast. So your future present self, what would you tell him?
Whew, so much, but I think what I would tell him most of all is to those people that I love, that you love right now, savor every second that you got with them. Every second. Like remember every little breath, every moment, every laugh, like savor all of that and hold that stuff and tell those stories, tell their stories, um, because life is fleeting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to close today's show with the final thought, which ties into what JJ just said. And it's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of my favorite authors. He says, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. So I want you all to close out 2025 leaving a trail, leaving a legacy, leaving an impact, going into the new year of 2026 strong. Even though we're not there yet, we're not there in 2026 yet. We still got a couple more months to go throughout this year. You know, October will be here before you know it. We're just in the beginning of September. So I want you all to go into the rest of this year being intentional, continue to keep having thought provoking conversations. And as JJ said, the key word throughout this whole entire interview and show today was network. Network, reach out to people you don't know. And trust me, when I reached out to JJ, and I sent him some of my interviews. I do that with all of my guests so they can see my work and get a feel for it so they don't feel ambushed. I don't like that either. I've done
Mhm.
interviews on platforms, but it's been amazing. I've done a lot of interviews on other platforms, and my guests made me feel comfortable. So I know what it's like to be ambushed, and I don't want any of my guests to feel that way. I want it to feel like we're having a conversation. I'm welcoming you into my home. But today, you get to take charge. You get to take charge. You get to drive that ship. We rotate in that pilot seat. But when my guests are here and they're telling their story, they're in the pilot seat. And as the host, we're going to rotate that seat back and forth. We're going to pass back and forth to that wheel and steer that ship together until we get to the destination. And that's what I want for my guests. And that's why I sit back and I don't interrupt. I let them tell their story because we all have a story. We all have something magnificent about us. So again, be intentional about being intentional. And I want you all to remember that, Fashion Dolls, as we close out today's show. So without further ado, JJ, this was such a bomb time. I said it was going to be dynamic, and I would love to invite you back for my 20th season, which will be in 2026. And I'm
Okay.
looking forward to having you on again, and I will send you those details. But let everyone know where they can follow you and check you out. And also, where can they donate or anything? Because we all need to be supporting Black filmmakers because
Mm,
we're seeing the way this business is now. We need to be supporting and investing. Roland Martin said it best. We need to be investing in our own,
yeah,
us,
yeah,
our
yes,
own.
yes. Black Man Films LLC is the company that Roderick and Salma started in New York. That's where the films that I've written, they're produced through that. So you can find their website, Black Man Films LLC, and look at the work there. And if you feel moved, like please donate to them. But yeah, and I'm on Instagram. It's where I tend to spend a lot of my time, at James J. Johnson one, because there's some other James J. Johnson who got the name first,
I've
but James J.
seen it.
Johnson one. And so you can find me there. I'm also on TikTok as Mediocre Dope. And then I'm also on Facebook as JJ Johnson or James Johnson, one of the two. But I'm around. I'm around. And thank you. This has been a lot of fun, Miss Stevie. So I appreciate the invitation.
Anytime, and I'm going to bring you back again to the dollhouse in 2026. Again,
All right.
you guys have heard it here first. If you're just returning in, Style by Stevie will be back for season 20. So stay tuned. We have amazing guests. It's going to be a whole new outlook. So the sparkly blue behind me, you will not see in the new year of 2026. So take it all in now. Enjoy it. Yes, Black Man's Films LLC. And shout outs to my girl, Faith is the Substance. Y'all make sure y'all are supporting Black women creators, not just myself, but shout outs to my girl, Faith. Make sure y'all go and check out her platform. She also does interviews. And Faith, I still haven't forgot you, girl. I'm coming to your house pretty soon. I have to try to check my schedule. Your girl has been booked and busy left and right. So I would make time to come in your house, girl. Like I said, I've been going in other people's platforms, and it's been a blast. They come to mine. I gotta return the favor and go to theirs. So thank you all so much for your love and support. And joining me tomorrow, we have the beautiful Naya Renee. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow at 4, and I will see you then. This interview will be exclusively uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. So head on over, subscribe, and tap that bell so you'll be notified when new interviews are posted. And you can catch up on some of the past interviews, like the one that I did with Bo Emerson, which was so much fun. Y'all enjoyed that when I see y'all going back to watch that replay. And I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love. So I will until then, Fashion Dolls, Till next time, I will see y'all tomorrow. Take care.